I come from the Red Cross fraternity, having worked both at the international and now working with Uganda Red Cross as the Secretary General. And I've looked at the program and the people who are making presentations, and I've realized the majority of us in this room and those who are making presentations, you are high-level researchers, professors, policymakers. Now, for me, the few minutes I'm going to interact with you, I want to take it back to the community, working with and walking the journey with the community in this One Health. So I hope it will fill the gaps regarding the bigger picture that has been shared with all of you by these various dignitaries. Just to give you a background of why Red Cross and with the community, such that then we can get the linkage. Because the way I want to approach it is, why Red Cross and why does it work with the community? And what is our leverage with the community? And what are those innovations or activities we are doing with the community in promoting One Health? And then I'll end briefly by touching on what are the emerging challenges or success stories that we need to build on. I think one key unique thing I can mention about the Red Cross globally and within Uganda is that it has an international mandate. Those who know the Geneva Conventions give the Red Cross the international mandate, but when you come the country level, like in the case of Uganda, but in most of our countries, we are established by legislation, so we are not an NGO, and I think there's always a thin line. So where do you draw a line between a government and non-governmental? And if Red Cross is in the middle, what does that mean? But the legislation that established Red Cross talks of being an auxiliary to government when it comes to humanitarian services. And I think that is very key, and we'll try to see how then we operationalize this. What is our approach? What is our approach? How do we work with other actors in carrying out these mandates? One is that we have a countrywide structure. We have a countrywide structure. We are present in every part of the country. We are present in every inch of the world. And we don't come and go because of what we are doing. We are there permanently. So we are there today. Even if something is done, today we are there. Even if it ends, we are still there. And through that, the membership, the volunteer base, becomes our strong pillar of our presence, but also of how we work with the communities. Now, how do we roll this out? We work with, in these aspects, but which are interlocked, because you see, at the community level, the distinction is very minimal. To make a distinction that this is about disasters, this is about health, this is about livelihood, this is about climate change, it is minimal. They are intertwined. Whichever way it comes, you find all these are cross-cutting. If it is an epidemic, it will have an effect on health, it will have an effect on wash, it will have an effect on livelihoods, and you can pick any other intervention and you'll find it is cross-cutting. But by and large, these are the key sectors we are dealing with. How we work with the government, I think this, I don't have to spend a lot of time on it. The key thing is that the actual work, we do it with the local authorities. The actual work, we do it with the local authorities, and we link them to the communities and the members of the community. Now, in my presentation, I want to make reference to 3 programs which we are currently implementing, such that then I can link it something real or not something that happened in the past. We are in partnership with government and the USAID in implementing a program which we call Community Epidemic and Pandemic Preparedness. So it will be one of the where I'm drawing the lessons and what I'm sharing with you. And this is taking it to the community to be involved in surveillance, in preparedness, but also being able to respond in case there is a pandemic or an epidemic. Such that these communities can be able to be source of information, can be able to influence change, can be able to respond. And so the pillars we are looking at is how do you ensure community accountability? How do you ensure that there is acceptance? Because also the stigma can be an issue when it comes to these pandemics, but also the whole question of sustainability and the communities being resilient. And through that, how are we doing it? And the way we do it is that we start by creating awareness and making the public understand why this approach is good for them. 2, we work out mechanisms on how these community members can be equipped with the key basics of understanding these epidemics or pandemics such that they can be able to report in case something abnormal or suspicious is seen or is heard of in their community. And the whole question of community surveillance, and also on how they link with the local authorities at that level. And the way we are positioning them is that even if there is nothing that has happened, they give us a report that nothing abnormal has happened. Another project which we are going to refer to in order to share with you our experience is the current Ebola preparedness in Uganda, whereby for a few months or so, we had put it into a response mode, but we have gone back into preparedness. Now, what I can share with you, and I hope our colleagues who are here will not take offense, all the other actors who are into Ebola, whether it is WHO, whether it is UNICEF, whether it is CDC, whether I don't know where else I can mention, they stop in boardrooms, they stop in laboratories, they stop in doing monitoring. The actual institution that does the work are the ones who deal with the community. And that's what I want to emphasize. I'm not downgrading what they do. But if the linkage with the community is not strong enough, these boardroom meetings, these researches we carry out, and these nice presentations we make will not make One Health a success. Because the pandemics or the epidemics or the health we are talking about, if the community is not at the center of making the difference, we can get our per diems, we can get our international salaries, but will not solve the problem. And so, in Ebola preparedness, we are the foot soldiers. We are the foot soldiers. You'll find us at border screening points. You'll find us in communities carrying out risk communication. You'll find us, the members I've talked about, doing community surveillance. You'll find us educating the public, and you'll find us prepared to help the people bury those who will die in a case. Then we have another innovation, which I think is more of interest to those who are into research. And this is what we call Response Preparedness Program, which focuses on data preparedness, on forecast financing, and cash transfer. Just spend a minute on this. If we cannot inform the public or the community that a calamity is going to happen, or a disaster is going to happen, or an epidemic is going to happen, and we put in measures of how we can mitigate or even save the little that they have, then we'll have failed. And that's what we mean by forecast financing, meaning that, take an example, in this country, those who are Ugandans, Eastern Uganda, every year we know there will be floods and landslides. We know it. But every time these floods and landslides come in the Teso region, in the Karamoja region, people lose their agricultural produce because these floods flood the gardens, so they lose everything. And we are saying, can we do so a bit of forecast financing? In Kenya, just to give you an example, the northern part of Kenya that borders with Somalia, after every 2 years, there is a drought, and people lose their animals. And through the Red Cross, what we are doing under forecast financing is we buy these animals, we slaughter them, instead of letting them to die of hunger. And then these people, when the dry season is over, they can buy new animals afresh and stock their herds. That's what we mean by forecast financing. Cash transfer, to spend a minute on it or so. There is what we call promoting human dignity. The traditional way of supporting people when there is an emergency is you give them what you think is they need without understanding whether that's what they need. And what do I mean by this? The usual things. You give them maize meal, packed in mostly with American logos. You give them but you are not promoting their human dignity to make choices. You are not promoting their human dignity to make choices, but you are also not promoting the local market. And so, when we talk of cash programming, we are talking of give people cash and they buy what they want, instead of determining for them what they should get. So that's what we mean by cash programming. I thought I should spend some minute on that. So the slides that have been shown, whether it is behavioral communication change, whether it is the way people are gathering data, these are the innovations we have come up with. Now, the question is it working or not? Now, one of the things we have realized is that the whole question of One Health, where community members are involved and understand why this is an issue of concern and has an impact on their communities, creates ownership, and I think I'm talking the obvious, creates the ownership, and then people become part of the solution, not part of waiting for someone to solve their problem. The whole question of how do we promote health, even when there are no emergencies, saves a lot of money when it comes to when there are emergencies. So there's a whole question of cost-benefit analysis. Do we invest in response when we are counting the dead bodies, when we are counting the losses, and which is very expensive? Or should we invest in preparedness, which is cheaper, which promotes ownership, and which can be sustained? We have had cases in some other areas whereby, because the people who are promoting or trying to address an intervention are not part of the community, and to create suspicion. You know it. In Congo, there are all these suspicions that this is a scheme of government when it comes to Ebola, and you can have so many examples since you are researchers. But when this is part of the community, then you avoid all these kind of miscommunication, suspicions, and also the community takes part, they are the center of this. One of the challenges, and you are researchers, but the challenge we normally have, our research is in and out. I think you can agree with me. So you get a research grant, you go out, carry out research, you come and present your data, but this gives us opportunity to have constant data flow, which we can interpret and use. So it is not on and off, it is a constant. It is a constant. And that's why we're emphasizing very much the whole aspect of data management. Data management, the whole question of making sure that we can use data to inform ourselves. And I don't think there is any other better data than when the community are the source of this data. Allow me to mention the emerging or the challenges which we need to address as we talk of One Health, community engagement using this approach. One of the challenges around this is the whole cycle to make it work is not resourced. I'll just give you an example. The districts where we are having this pandemic preparedness, the district officials tell us that you are doing this, but when you are out, how are we going to keep this going? Because the accompanying mechanism is not there by the local government, by the other actors, especially government. And so we create success stories, we create excitement, but we don't have the mechanism to make the support sustainable beyond the project cycle. In other words, what I'm trying to say, you can't manage One Health as a project. It is wrong. You'll get quick results and go away. You can't manage One Health as a project. There has to be mechanisms of how you can support these communities even beyond the project funding. And I think government has to come in, but also the other development partners. The whole question of making it, and maybe this is about our donor education. Where do we put most of our investment? Do we put it in preparedness, or do we put it in response? And as you know, as of today, I didn't come with the figures, the money goes into response. I'll just give you a quick example. Ebola in Uganda has been on preparedness phase for the last almost 10 months, almost a year. By May, the funding had almost dried up. Those who are here, they can testify. And the answer the questions the response we are getting from partners were that, yeah, but it seems this problem is not going to happen, and we can't get money for it. The very day they said there were 3 people who had Ebola in Uganda, all those who had said there was no money came on board and said there is money now. At times we wonder, do we finance based on people's graves or on dead bodies as it were, or can we make sure there are no dead bodies? And this is a dilemma across board. It is a dilemma across board, and I don't know how One Health can help us overcome this. So, but it is a challenge. Now, I want to end by saying this. So far, we are confident that involving the community and putting the community at the center of this One Health cannot be a question of debate in as far as what we are picking. What should be a debate is how do we make it work, how do we strengthen it, and how do we sustain it. Then the other elements accompany it and make it have all the integral components in order for this One Health to be a success. I thank you, and as Red Cross, we pledge to remain your partner in that respect.